The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. Welcome to the offices of Duke & Duke, 100 South Broad Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Well, folks, if you follow baseball, you'll notice that yesterday the Seattle Mariners pitcher threw a no-hitter, which is very, very hard to do in baseball. And congratulations to him. I have a wonderful story to tell you. My friend Tommy John, who was from Terre Haute, Indiana, we sort of grew up together. My mother and my grandmother taught his mom how to cook Italian food because they liked it so much and they wanted to learn how to do it. And so she spent some time with my mom and my grandma. And Tom went to a different high school than we did, but we were really good friends. Anyway, he was pitching for the White Sox. This was back in 1966, I believe, and we went to Anaheim Stadium to watch him pitch. And he had a no-hitter going into the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 out, and a guy hit a home run. I think, who was the guy? He hit a home run. It hit the foul pole, off the wrong side home run. The right-handed hitter hit the ball down the right-hand foul line and hit the foul pole for a home run, and he lost the game 1-0, and he pitched a one-hitter. That was the closest he ever got. He pitched in he won 274 games in his 28 years in the big leagues, but he never made it into the Hall of Fame. He needed another 24 games to be 300, but he missed that. But he's still a super fellow. Okay, let's get on to the markets. Starting out with the DAX, as you can see here. We've had a little bit of a Gartley pattern forming here on this 15-minute chart. It's already started to sell off a little bit over in London early this morning. If we take a look at the FTSE, which is the real interesting one that we've been following, we are right up here at this 78% level. And we'll see what we're looking at, what we're watching here. So that's pretty good. Anyway, we'll watch this very, very closely through the eyes of some of these other things. We want to take a look here at what happened yesterday because I wanted to talk just a little bit about the news, folks, because everybody's talking about how terrible this thing is with the Iranian thing and all this stuff. And there were 3 guys on Bloomberg yesterday talking about how oil was going to break $6 to $10 a barrel based on this, and the end of the world was going to happen. Boy, oh boy, I can tell you how many times I have seen the news do exactly the opposite of what the market's going to do. And the most memorable that I will never forget, well, there's several, but this is one of the most memorable. 1972, there was a soybean and corn report, and we were at Conti Commodities. We had a squawk box there. There were several of them around where they call in. Ivan Auer, who's still around, a good friend of Rich Anderson, would come on and give his talk about what was happening. And the report was so bearish. They were limit down in the corn, limit down in soybeans and stuff like that. And the call was, limit down across the board. About 15 minutes before the market opened, Ivan came on and he said, well, he says a little buying come in. He said they might not open limit down. He said they might only be down about, and the limits then were, I believe, 10 cents. And he said, and then about 5 minutes to go, he says, well, we got some buying coming in here. He said they're going to be lower, but not nearly as much as we thought. In about 2 minutes before the market opened, he came on screaming, they're going to open limit up. He was screaming so loud, his voice was just like mine because I can remember it. He said, oh my God, he said, they're limit up. Folks, that was the start of the Russian grain robbery. And anyway, it was really an exciting moment. Never forget it. Okay. Let's move on here to the next one here. So when you hear the news, just remember the news is usually in the market. Now, I'm going to share with you something that we've talked about here the last few days. It's about the relationship of the euro with the with the gold market, and I wanted to show you this because this is what was happening last night at about I think it was about 2 in the morning. I want to bring this up to show you. You'll notice here where the gold was making a bottom there at that 304.20. Look what happened to the euro at the same time. Now the euro, if you go over and look, you'll notice you'll see it was around, well, it was around 3:45 a.m. Chicago, New York time. That's around 1 o'clock here. Anyway, you'll notice that the difference between the euro and the gold is the euro trades thousands of times bigger. We trade $1 trillion in the euro just about every day. You know, we might trade hundreds of millions in the gold on a really big day, but this shows you the relationship here is just absolutely phenomenal for a short-term timing thing. If you wanted to trade the gold, I mean, it's really, it's very, very accurate. So pay attention to that because, and that's related, of course, to the dollar index. Now, maybe it doesn't continue to do that. To me, I found that you know, quite amazing. I really did. Now, yesterday we were talking about the news. I wanted to bring this up here with the E-mini S&P because they were talking about, you know, oil dropping $6 a barrel and all the other stuff, and the stock market was going to come unglued. You can see what happened yesterday. Right at the time when he announced it, the market sold off about 15 minutes after his speech. You can see what happened to the market, and we continued to go higher, and we took out the highs of May 7th. The day before. So these news items are just basically they just go right off the water off the backs of these traders. So pay attention to the charts. The news follows the trend, and the trend has been up. So sort of pay attention to that. That's a big thing to look at. Now we've had speed bumps is a good one. You're right. And since we're talking about David, I want to show you something that David White has done for TFNN. I'm going to just put up here the charts that they have showing you the Gartley patterns. If you trade stocks, they send this out each day showing the patterns, either butterflies or Gartleys or ABCDs, and he puts the ratios and everything right on it for you. And it does a really great job. And so if you're interested in, you know, following stocks, TFNN has a really great service that you can get that will show you these stocks that they show up each day. There's always one or two. Sometimes there's as many as 5 or 6, but they work, you know, they don't work all the time, but they work most of the time. And that's the key here, because the only thing we can control here is the amount of money that we're going to risk on a trade, not how much money we're going to make. So sort of pay attention to that. That's a very, very important thing to look at. Now, I wanted to spend, I have to bring this up about Twitter today because we have an interesting, this is going to be a real interesting pattern to watch in Twitter because we've got, hold on one second here. Mr. Z, you have to stick with your day job, buddy. You're not going to make it as a Canadian. That's a good one, Z. And thanks a lot. Anyway, look at the ABCD here in Twitter. The reason why I'm laughing, folks, is because they've been posting into the Tiger Den a little joke on David White, a friendly joke, of course, but it's quite funny. Anyway, we'll be right back with Twitter. I owe you one, Z. I'm going to get you.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Are you an options trader that's looking for that extra edge when placing trades? David White will be hosting a webinar on May 16th, which is the Wednesday leading up to options expiration Friday in May, where he'll discuss in depth the methodology he uses for trading options near expiration, including swing trading setups and expiration day trading scenarios. Subscribers to each of Dave's newsletters, Path of Least Resistance and the Technology Insider, gain access to this 60-minute webinar, which will be archived if you cannot attend live. Dave has had some great option trades recently for his subscribers. See for yourself the trading methodology he uses when trading options by signing up today for either of his newsletters, and we'll see you Wednesday, May 16th at 5 p.m. for option trading near expiration, analyzing swing trades and expiration day scenarios. For all the details and to sign up today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, folks, we're back, and someone asked me why I got all choked up talking about that 1972 thing about the Russian grain robbery. Well, memories, folks, that's the main thing, because it was in the Conti office there in West L.A., and that was the day that my account went six figures the first time, and they didn't trade beans for 5 or 6 days. They went limit up. And beans, corn, wheat, everything was going crazy because the Russians were in there buying everything, and that was back in the old days. That doesn't count anymore, but that's the way it goes. We got a couple of big things happening today in the markets, folks. I want to focus on one that we don't trade too often, but we're right near an area that looks very, very interesting here, and that is in sugar, the sweet. If we'll bring this up and take a look at it, I don't trade sugar, but this Simon certainly does, and we've had a pullback here after this bottom that we're looking at. So it's a very low risk entry point in sugar if you're looking at it, because it does have a really nice 61% retracement. Your bottom here is very, very similar to the one that Mr. Z pointed out in the cocoa when cocoa was back there in January. It was really a big move. Let's just take a quick look and just remind everybody where this was, because I think you're going to really enjoy this. We'll put this up and take a look at this. This was from January when Mr. Z was in the room buying cocoa at 18.45. I remember it very, very distinctly. It was March cocoa, and he got out of it around 26 and change. Of course, it went up to the 29 level, and it's still trading around that 2,700 level. But that was a tremendous move. It had higher bottoms all the way through, and those are the kind of things that they share here at the Tiger Den here at TFNN. I'm only in it an hour a day on the radio show, and then there's others that come on. We have Basil and Steve Rhodes, David White, Andy Heck. Just so many guys coming on. It's really, and of course that Mr. Tom O'Brien and Son are on too, and Basil. So it's really it's got a good group and a lot of smart people in the den too, which is really good. So just keep an eye on the sugar. It's got a chance. It's still far from going anywhere. But if you'll remember, we also talked about, through Mr. Z, we talked about coffee, another one that I don't trade, but we had this same type of pattern in coffee, back in mid-April, and that's had a monster move. I mean, coffee's had a tremendous move, and now it's pulling back to a 61% retracement. So both coffee and sugar, maybe it's what we call the Starbucks trade, but it's pretty interesting to see both of these making retracements at pretty much the same time. So that's something to keep an eye on. Someone's asking me about, do I trade options? Yes, I do, and the answer to that is poorly. Options are really tough, folks. Because of the time decay, you can focus on the patterns better with an options. You've got a decaying asset, and you have to give up quite a bit. But there are times where you can do option trades where you can get fabulous leverage with a very, very low risk. And we don't do those very often, but when we do, we watch them very, very closely. The best way to trade options is learn to be an option seller. In other words, if you get to point D, learn to be an option seller of puts or an option seller of calls. Those are the best because you got the odds in your favor. About 85% of all options expire worthless. Those statistics go back since they first started trading options. And the problem is with an option, if an option goes, if you're an option seller and it doubles in price against you, you have to get out because you have unlimited risk with those things and you can't stand in front of it. Look at a perfect example of that was David Einhorn. Was it not David Einhorn? What was that guy's name? David Ackerman with that health company, and then also Jim Chanos is going through the same thing with Tesla. So you've got to put a spot on health Mega Life or whatever. What's it called? Mega Life or something like that. I forget what it is, but he finally gave up the ghost on that. And Herbalife, that's what it is, yeah. Anyway, but you just have to be able, and I would take an options course. We, Thinkorswim folks that are on the program here at TFNN have some really great stuff on options if you want to get into that. But I'm not options. I'm a swing trader. I use the things that I think are relatively important, but sometimes they're not as important as you might think. Now, I wanted to put up here the chart that we did in the newsletter. Someone just asked it. I'm going to get that to it right now, Maria. Here's the chart from the newsletter on crude oil. We were looking for a price up here at this 1.27 and 1.618 expansion at this 171.50 level. I don't know what the high was overnight, but I know it didn't get that high because I didn't get filled. But it's got a real chance here in the oil. The oil only got up to 71.05, so my guess is that it's probably got some more to go. To the upside possibly. We've only backed off 40 cents from the high this morning, so that's really not very much. So I would just sort of keep that in mind. But we have a topping pattern in the oil. There's a big reasoning for that. If we take a look at this, of course, on the hold on one second here. I want to get it on the weekly. Shucks, I don't have the weekly on this one, so we'll have to wait. But if you'll note that weekly, we have a big ABCD pattern at the 50% level at $71 a barrel. So my assumption is somewhere between 71 and 72, we're probably going to be topping. Now, this is totally opposite to the news that's going out there that we mentioned earlier. And believe me, that's not unusual, folks. I mean, when you hear these people come on, hey, you're listening to me, and, I make mistakes just like everybody else. I keep a book here on my desk called The Expert Speak, and the book is about 4.5 inches thick of some of the smartest people ever to walk the planet and how wrong they were on so many different things. I mean, it's just totally amazing. So remember, in the markets, markets are seldom wrong. Men are often wrong. So you've got to be able to focus on the most important cycle in all of trading, and that's that 9-inch cycle, the one from left ear to right ear. So we've got oil inventories coming at 10:30 a.m. That's a pretty good one to look at. So it might be bullish. You might get a rally from that to take a look at it. But we do have a topping action in that. We'll see if it's going to see if that's going to be right. That's right, and that's correct. Well, a lot of times, people have a certain opinion on something, and we all know what opinions are. We've certainly been that, so we'll see what that is. We'll take a look at it. All right, let's move on to the next one we want to talk about. We got a break coming up. Someone asked the question about whether Norm had something big. He has something big coming up on Monday because he'll be our guest on Monday. We have a new moon coming in, I believe, on the 15th. That's Tuesday, and Norm will be on Monday. So he's got some really good astro stuff coming in. And also remember that Bill Meridian was also looking at a potential topping here in the market in the first week of May, and then also in the crude oil was the same thing he was looking at. So we'll see what is going. Yes, I do. It's Channel 19. Channel 19 is the Elvis channel from Tupelo, Mississippi. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a look here at the Treasury bonds here over the last 5 weeks. You'll notice that we made that big butterfly pattern up at the 147 level. almost made a double top back in mid-April. Then we had the sell-off, ABCD. We had the nice rally up to a 61% retracement, and then we had the big cascading down from 145 down to 141, where we made a 3 drive to a bottom pattern, and it was right at that 1.27 of the swing from mid-March to end of April. From that level, you notice that we came up last week. We made that 144 level, which was a 1.27 expansion of the previous 2 days range. It was also a 61% retracement of the high on the 17th of April, and it was also a 50% retracement of the high that we had on March 28th. So we had 3 numbers coming in, and now it's coming down where we have 2 numbers coming in. We have a 1.27 expansion of the low from last week. That comes in at 142.06. That's the 78% level. Comes in at 142.06. We're trading at 142.10 right now. So keep an eye on those Treasury bonds because they need to hold there. Failing that, we're looking at a market that looks like it wants to head to about 127. This is such a bearish chart, folks. I mean, interest rates are going higher. I don't know. Jamie Dimon thinks 4% in bonds is possible. No one thinks that could happen, but they could certainly do that and even more. So keep an eye on these because they certainly look like they want to go much lower for sure. If we take a look at the notes, you can see the notes, all they did, of course, is just make that ABCD pattern just barely at a 382 level, and that's not a very, very bullish pattern either. So the notes and bonds certainly, and that has nothing to do with the stock market because stocks are going to react the way they're going to react. It doesn't make any difference because they're totally different vehicles for trading something different. So that's the main thing. Now, I wanted to spend just a tiny bit of time here on the euro. We've had a little bit of a bounce in the euro. I'll put up the daily chart here. And we talked about the fact that, once that dollar index took off above 93, the euro was breaking down. That was when it broke below the 129 level. We got down to 128.28 last night, and when we had a little bit of a rally, but I still think we're looking at 117.70. That's the 78% level in the euro. Whether we get there or not, remains to be seen, but that's what it looks like. We've had a little bit of a rally this morning, and that was off of nothing more than a small ABCD pattern on the hourly chart because it bounces off these numbers. It's truly amazing to me, folks, that people do not see the incredible symmetry that is in these markets, and especially in foreign exchange. It doesn't work all the time, but for heaven's sakes, it works a lot of the time, and that's the real key. If you'll study these things, I think you'll get a pretty good idea that this is just not a random thing that we're looking at in these things. So let's just put this up to show you the Canadian dollar. This was last night, yesterday, midday in the Canadian dollar. We went up to that 130 level. We've already broken over 100 pips. From that level. It was an exact 78% level from the high on March the 12th. And you'll notice these other numbers were pretty much spot on too. They're not off by more than 30 pips. And when you stop and think that it's a $100,000 contract and you only have to risk $300, that's a pretty ideal situation. At least that's what it looks like anyway. I mean, whether that's the case or not, I'm not absolutely sure, but we should look at it. Now, I've had a question about stocks, and I want to bring this up. This is the most talked about stock in the world. It gets the most free advertising in the world, and that is Apple. You'll notice that we had that really nice ABCD pattern down at the 61% retracement at the 160. It's actually 160.65. From that level, we took off, and then we had a big gap up. I forget what news was at that time. That was last week, and then, of course, we had the earnings, and it gapped up again. It looks like we're heading towards that 192 level is what it looks like in the Apple. Now, whether it gets there or not, I'm not sure, but that's where the ABCD will form. If you'll notice the high that we made in March, we had that little butterfly pattern that was pretty easy to spot. It was, 6 days up in the CD leg, and that's a pretty good sign that it's going to run into some type of resistance. And of course, the stock went from 182, down to dropped to 10% almost, 9% down into that ABCD pattern. So whether that's going to continue up to the 192, I'm not sure, but I believe we're trading at about 188 right now, so we're only $4 away, and we could do that without any trouble at all. So let's sort of pay attention to what we're looking at right here. So we're having a nice rally now in the Nasdaq early morning, which is good, and this is exactly what we want to see happening. So let's keep an eye on some of these things. They're going to be really interesting, folks. There's one number here. If you like numbers, I'm going to share you a number that I'm going to try to get it up here so we can see it here. And we'll be able to, there we go, get it up here so we can take a look at it. But I don't know if it's going to hit it or not, but it's not very far away. This is the NASDAQ, folks, and I want you to remember this number. We're trading at 1841 right now. Watch it at 1866, 6868. Watch the NASDAQ at that point. If it hits that point and doesn't get any higher, that's going to ring a bell all across technical land, because that will be a spot that will really cause a great deal of possible trend change at that point. 6868. I'm sure Maria in the room, Dudette, will give us a heads up on that. But that's a really important number, because that's a 61% retracement. We would be taking out the high of the high that we made back in April, and if it doesn't get any above that, that's going to be a real interesting spot to look at. So watch that number, 6868. That's 30 handles from where we are right now, but that's with these markets, the way they jump around, that's not a big deal. So let's just keep an eye on that, because it'll be interesting to watch as we go through here, looking at some of these things that we're watching. Very, very important to pay attention to that, at least from a technical standpoint. Someone's asked a question about the gold. The gold's done exactly what the euro's doing. If we get the euro to turn here, gold's got a chance, and the gold is actually acting much better than the euro, which is a positive thing. And the second thing that it's got going that is positive is the fact that the silver is acting really good. Silver couldn't even make a lower low than gold did. Silver could only make a 78% retracement. So hopefully we've got someone's asked a question about the cattle, and well, I don't know if silver has risen yet, but it's get a chance. I would like to know that someone told me yesterday here in the room that the price of vanilla is worth more than the price of silver. I'll be right back, and we'll bring up the cattle and take a look at it. 877-927-6648.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 8 hours a day, starting at 9 a.m. as Larry Pesavento kicks us off with Trade What You See. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Swim lessons from TD Ameritrade Think or Swim is now at 11 a.m., followed by Basil Chapman at 12 noon. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour, brought to you by Nadex. Next on TFNN.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we're going to take a look here at this cattle market for our good friend Mr. Z. I'm going to have to use August because, we're coming into the middle of May, so I'll be switching over to August cattle. But June cattle actually a little stronger than the August. But as you can see, we have an upward moving market ever since that big ABCD pattern was formed there. It looks like we got 2 or 3 cents more at least to go before we have a pretty good correction in the cattle. That's my 2 cents worth on the cattle. Let's take a quick look here on the silver, folks. I just wanted to show you the relationship here between the silver and the gold. The gold here is in the blue spot there. You'll notice that ABCD pattern just completed in the gold down there at 1304 last night. But you'll notice when gold was making a lower low than yesterday, you'll notice that silver was only making a 78% retracement. That's a pretty strong divergence, and it's been doing that for quite some time now. So silver has been leading the pack, and it's only, 1/6 of the volume and open interest that we have in the gold, but that's telling you that there's something out there. At least that's my 2 cents worth to look at it. But it does look interesting anyway. But we'll see. But I'm long gold, so you want to keep that in mind. That's just my 2 cents worth. So we'll see whether that means too much or not. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, the next one that someone's asked me about, we've already talked about the Apple, folks. I don't know where Apple is trading, but it's got a profit objective of 192 on that ABCD pattern, 191 to 192 in the Apple. I don't know where it's trading at right now, but that's what it looks like from where we sit here this morning. So we'll see if that's going to mean very much or not. We'll just keep that in mind. Treasury bonds. So here we're trading at the 142.22 level. Remember, folks, at 142.06, we've got double numbers coming in there. We've got a 1.27 expansion, and we also have a 78.6% retracement. So both of those should be very, very interesting to watch. So that's just another one. Just sort of keep your eye on the prize, I guess, because that's something that we could be looking at that would be very interesting to see if it's going to. Yeah, you're right. If the do that. You're right. If that NASDAQ gets above that 68, you don't want to be involved with it. If it just hits there and backs off, it's no big deal. But if we close above there, that would be really, really bullish. And remember, this news stuff that's going on has nothing to do with what's really going on. What's really going on is what's happening to the market, because people follow the money, and that's what's going on. They're not afraid of of any war anywhere. They're not afraid of any of this other stuff. The market is not telling us that, at least not yet. And it was nice to know that we got our 3 prisoners back from North Korea, which I think is really a good thing, especially for those folks. And you don't want to get involved with getting into a foreign country. If you ever go to China, folks, the first thing you're going to see when you enter China is going to be a big sign. In the United States, it says, "Welcome to the United States of America." The sign in China says, "If you sell drugs here, you go to prison for life." And if you sell enough of them, it's the death penalty. So they put a kibosh on that. Same thing is true in Singapore, where they outlaw skateboards and chewing gum. So we have some freedoms here that we should not take it. We should take advantage of. Anyway, I wanted to bring up the chart of the IWM, because this is another one that has been going to the upside quite a bit here. You'll notice here that we have a big ABC level up here at this IWM at the 78% level. It's hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We're probably here again today too. So keep in mind that that's what we're watching as we're seeing some of these things about what's going on. Some things. Someone's are talking about the Turkish prisons. Well, I know something about the Turkish lira because I have a student over in Ankara, Turkey, and the Turkish lira has been under, I think it's the lira. Yeah, it might be. Anyway, it has been under attack. The dollar is screaming over there. It's really making it difficult for people that want to travel outside Turkey. If you don't travel outside Turkey, it doesn't make any difference. But if you do, it costs a great deal of money. So we'll see, what's moving along that way. Someone's asked a question about the thing in Mexico about the immigrants and stuff, folks. I don't follow that. So I'm 72 miles from the Mexican border, and I never pay any attention to it. Honest to goodness, we really don't. It's not a big deal. So well, let's move on. The grains, Marshall's asking a question about the grains. I'm very bullish the grains, as most of you know that get the newsletter for 24/7 for the futures. Cy Monley is very bullish on the grains. Rich Anderson's very bullish on the grains. The technical analysts aren't too much, but the fundamental analysts aren't too much because we still have excess grain. But the charts are looking good, especially in corn, and I'm short corn right now, but that's on a short-term basis. But when I'm long oil and soybean oil, that's working good. So those are the ones that I'm looking at. But the charts on the grains are, they actually look pretty good. I mean, let's just bring up here to show you, just get new crop soybeans up here, just to take a quick look. Wow, 948 already. Holy cow! Holy moly, guacamole! Here's the soybean chart. This is from, and we backed off into these lows, so this is a buying opportunity if we get the beans down to around 1018. It looks like, but that's what I don't even. I think the soybeans are around 1021. Where are November beans, Mr. Z? Could somebody tell me, because I don't have access to the prices, but I think at 1018 that would be a really nice 61% retracement in November soybeans. So if Mr. Z will, or somebody let me know where November beans are, I would be interested in knowing that. But we'll see what happens to it. But we don't know where it is. They're 1026, so they're 8 cents away. So if we get down there at 1018, Mr. Z, take a look at them. I don't know anything about the fundamentals, but that's a really nice retracement in a bull market, and it gives you multiple price swings about 70 cents higher. So boy, to risk 15 cents to make 70 is, and we got a USDA report tomorrow. We're going to have Rich Anderson. Let's get the Richarino on tomorrow, and because we got the USDA on, hopefully we'll get Rich on. Let me write this down, otherwise I will forget. And I'll check with Cy and see what's going on, and we'll move on to the next one here, which, if you'll give me a second, we'll be able to cover this. Hold on. Uh-oh. Just a second, boys and girls. We got trouble in River City. What happened here? Uh-oh. Okay, here we go. Now we're all right. There we are. We're okay. We're okay. Okay, now we got we got a break coming up. 877-927-6648. And we get back, we'll talk about some of the markets, how they're acting early in the morning, but right now it's no big deal. They're just jumping around like they always do. And we will see what they do from that point, that's for sure. 877-927-6648.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools, as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and talking. I want to bring the chart up of the soybean meal. You'll notice that we've had a double top in there, and we're pulling back. So we've gotten down to pretty close to that level we're looking at here last week. So pay sort of attention in that. The Goldman Sachs has just come out with a report saying they're looking for a $6 rise in oil prices this summer. Very interesting. I can remember the report when oil was $141 a barrel, and they had their special report that crude oil, $200 a barrel. It was issued the day after the high at 141, where it went from 141 all the way down to 26. But they never posted the retraction. So just because somebody says something, including me, raise your hand, Larry, and just because I say something, it don't mean that it's going to be that way. The charts are what count, because we're wrong a lot. You got to be right once in a while, but you can be wrong. You just got to make your mind up when you're wrong and get out. That's what stops are used for. You can't stand in front of these things, folks, because they're just too darn powerful. We've seen this too many times where the markets just go, straight up or straight down, and you think you got the right idea in the wrong church, and that's not the way to be. So keep stops working. That's what it's all about, because markets, it can go up a lot, can also come down a lot. That's the key to remember when you're looking at some of these things. So pay attention to it. Okay, that's about it. So we've got we've got the crude oil now has got up to 70, 90 a barrel. That's a 61% retracement on the day. So we'll see if that means anything. And that's about it. Not too much else happening. Gold is still holding its own up here at the 13, 14, almost 13, 15. We get above 13, 16. We could have some legs here in the gold. We'll need the euro to get above 119. But so live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks!